Hello and welcome to kiiff.com. In this video, we're going to talk about why you need to have a staging or development website. What I have here is a presentation slide titled The Top 5 Reasons to Have a Staging and Development Website. So reason number one is it serves as a website backup. Now, before we get into this, I will say that depending on the company and the size, may depend that staging and development website could be two different things. In fact, some companies have up to 4 different websites, including their production website. But in our case, we're going to talk about staging and development as pretty much the same thing. So the first thing is it can serve as a website backup. Now, we've all had the temptation to go to our production website and say, oh, all we need to do is just change a piece of text maybe, or a picture here, a picture there, and the next thing you know, maybe we have some problems that are greater than just our simple implementation, and it turns out that our website has now got other problems, right? One simple thing that you were changing has snowballed into more than 2, 3, 4 things that you have to change now. So your staging website could serve as a simple backup. The second thing is website modifications. And this is probably the biggest one, the biggest reason to have a staging and development website. That is, you don't need to make changes to your what we call production website. Your production website is what your forward-facing public website. It's their main website for your business. In our case, it's kiiff.com. So when you have a staging site, let's say that you wanted to add a new page or you wanted to change the way something looked, you can make that on the development site, make sure everything works, and then what we call push the update to your production site. So the modifications, this allows you to add new features and learn while you're doing it. So a lot of times, if you have somebody that maybe you paid someone to develop your website for you or paid them to implement a particular piece of code, then you can take that to your development site and then pick it apart and learn how it works and maybe replicate it in a different way on a different page maybe, or use it for a different website. So your development site essentially gives you no risk. Now, of course, if you are making website modifications, then on your development site, then it's not really going to serve as a great backup because you're not backing up something that you can just immediately push back to the production side. So maybe you want to have 2, 3 different staging websites, and this is why the big, larger companies do this. Is they have more than one. You'd have backups, then you'd also have development websites as well. And that's different from, that's even different from taking just a website backup of your files, right? That's the simplest thing to do. If you don't know how to do that in cPanel, go ahead and check out our video on that. It's in our YouTube channel. So number 3, less downtime, pushing updates to public site. So again, we say that we call it pushing updates. That is, we have our development website, we've made all the changes that we want to do, and we just push it to the production site. And what happens is, if we are making all our changes to the production site, maybe we run out of, we have a PHP memory error, or we have a 500 server error or something like that, and when we're in the middle of making these changes, or maybe perhaps our own client computer loses internet, right? Can you imagine you're doing you have your website down, say you put up a temporary page on your main website, saying this site is under construction, and then you yourself lose internet as you're working on it, and then it's down for longer than expected, right? So your website uptime is an extremely important factor. If you're having problems with your uptime with your current web host, be sure to send me an email, zach@kiiff.com, and we can certainly help you out. But less downtime is certainly an advantage of having a staging or development website. Number 4, quality assessment. Quality assessment kind of goes along with number 2 in that you implement something on your site, and then you want to test it, right? And depending on what your site is doing or the purpose of your site, you're going to want to do this a lot. So for companies like us as web hosters, or think about like Amazon, right? If they're implementing a new cart system, or they're implementing a new checkout system, think about how many times they would want to test that with a whole range of products. So if you're into e-commerce or selling really anything online, you're providing a point of sale essentially online, then the quality assessment is even greater. It's even more important to do. That you have time, you have the ability to make mistakes, to find errors, things like that on your development or staging site. Whereas if you implement a change to your production site and all of a sudden the cart doesn't work the way it should, or something's wrong with the way it looks, then you have to fix that right now in order to keep your customers happy. Otherwise, you really can't afford to walk away. And number 5, not as costly as you think. So this is depending on your web host, of course, but here at kiiff.com, I'm going to show you that even if you have the starter package, which is one website, you can make your staging site on a subdomain. So all you needed really is a subdomain. If you have more of a complex website, if you're doing e-commerce, things like that, I would recommend that you have our business package anyways, at least, if not the enterprise, and then you would have extra domains. You would just purchase another domain and set it up on a completely different site. But let's go ahead and go through this now. I'm going to drag a window over. We are in the cPanel for kiiff.net. So if we go to kiiff.net, we refresh the page here, there's nothing on it. So we're going to go into the cPanel, and we're just going to do a basic WordPress. So we'll go WordPress install now. I'll just go through this, keep it all the same. I suppose I should randomize the password for security, although it's being shown on the internet. So, all right, just like that, WordPress is installed. If we go back to the overview, we'll give it a chance to refresh here. Go back into WordPress. Okay, here is our site, right? So we just installed. Oh, might be having some trouble here. We just installed WordPress on kiiff.net. Looks like it's still something caught up on the installation, but the purpose of this is to show you the staging site inside cPanel. So we're just back inside the WordPress overview. So if you were in your cPanel for your any web host, really, you just go down to WordPress and then you're here. So then you can click on Create Staging. Actually, the first thing we have to do is create a subdomain. So we'll do that quickly. Go subdomains. We're going to call it staging. All right, staging.kiiff.net. Create it. All right. Go back into WordPress. There we go. HTTP. Yeah, that's fine. Staging.kiiff.net. Delete that and create staging. We'll give it a second here. And boom, just like that, staging website was created successfully. So it has taken what was on kiiff.net and copied it to staging.kiiff.net, which we'll see. There it is. It looks like it's up now. So the kiiff.net should, it's having some issues. But staging.kiiff.net has now got exactly what kiiff.net had. So if you have an existing WordPress website, this is just how easy it is. It copies everything over, plugins, posts, everything. So that's what you need to do for a subdomain. If you were doing it on a regular domain, it's just as easy. And this button over here, right, staging.kiiff.net, we said is our development. We're making all our changes on there, updating WordPress on there, pushing posts, everything, whatever modifications we want. And we can press this button right here called push to live, right? We would just click that. Current staging site will be pushed to your live site, kiiff.net. And we can even just change this installation to live, but we don't really want to do that. And we would just click push to live. And it'll take a second here. And it says, congratulations, the site was successfully pushed to live. So there it is. Softaculous, this is called the Softaculous apps installer. It's essentially a plugin within cPanel for most web hosts, certainly here at kiiff.com. Allows you to install these different CMS platforms. It allows you to also create this staging website and push the changes to live, all for WordPress. Now, if you have a HTML, CSS website, or I haven't tried this yet with Drupal, but maybe Drupal, Joomla, other CMSs would have a similar function inside Softaculous. If you have any questions on how to do this, or if you're having trouble, send me an email, zach@kiiff.com, and we'll help you out. Thanks for watching this video.